Hello everyone and welcome back to another Marvel Champions video. Today I picked up the newest Marvel Champions pack. It's a scenario pack for Kang, the Once and Future Kang scenario pack. Uh, Goes for about $20. Picked it up, I think it's like 19.99, maybe 20 bucks. Picked this up at my local game store. Been looking forward to this one for a while, especially with the time travel aspect to it, where depending in a single player game, it probably won't be as thematic because you're going to be basically your character will be taken into a different zone. But once you beat, I think the first stage, you then basically each player gets dealt I think like a side scheme, and you're in your own little time period. So it's supposed to represent the characters getting kind of separated, scattered through space and time, and then they have to beat their own little play area before they can basically rejoin the other players. So what it says on the back here is 73 card scenario pack includes a brand new scenario with 6 unique versions of the time traveling tyrant Kang. An adventure in time and space as the heroes are separated and must reunite to stop Kang, and 3 exciting modular encounter sets made of past, present, and future threats. So there's that. There is the back of it. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and get this open. I'm gonna get it sleeved. I'm probably gonna play through. Not sure exactly like how many times I'm gonna play through it right now, but I'll probably play through it with my Captain America deck, and then we'll be back later in this video, giving my thoughts on this and letting you know how this scenario went. Really looking forward to this one. So, gonna go ahead, get it open, get it sleeved. Gonna play it with Captain America and see how it goes. We'll be right back and gonna let you know how my game went. All right, and we are back after our first game against Kang. I was successful, but just barely. I was one threat away from losing the game, and that is with probably my best deck right now, which is the Stunlock Captain America. So quite a challenge, even for probably the deck that I play the most, and the deck that I'm definitely the best at, and probably the best deck I have. So quite a challenging encounter, or set of encounters. There's quite a bit of replayability in this because there are multiple modular encounters you can add. There's multiple side schemes for the second stage where you go backward and forward through time. So those are all going to play a little bit differently as well. Anyway, so this is Kang. This is his first form. So just Kang the Conqueror. One scheme, two attack with an asterisk. Comes in with a toughness token right away, so he gets toughness. He basically takes damage off of that instead. And he has a force interrupt when Kang attacks you. Either place one threat on the main scheme, or he gets +2 attack for this attack. So that could add up to quite a bit of damage, especially if you're close to almost losing the threat on the scheme. You might give him that extra attack. So I was taking quite a bit of damage off of his boosted attacks. And sometimes I was just adding threat because I'm like, okay, cool. There's only one threat on there. I'll add another threat to it when he attacks. This defeating the stage wasn't that bad because it comes in with just 12 health. So the fun thing with this deck, with this encounter, is after you beat the stage 1, you move into this other. You basically move into a different time period. You move into this Master of Time, which is when it's revealed, place one acceleration token here for each side scheme in play. Then discard each side scheme. Each player reveals a random stage 3 card in turn order. Remove any unused stage 3 schemes from the game. Luckily, I didn't actually end up having to get any. I didn't get any acceleration tokens on here, so that was good. And then basically, once this is, you basically reveal a random stage 3 scheme, which I ended up doing the Once in Future War, or Present Future War. Sorry, Present Future War, which is comes in with 2 threat, gets +1, and it threats out at 9 points. It's not 9 points per player because basically each player is going to be in their own little time period, dealing with their own scheme and their own version of Kang. So the version of Kang I was fighting was the Scarlet Centurion, which does quite a bit of damage and has quite a bit of health. So 0 scheme, so he's not very good at scheming. I did have him scheme a couple times where like he only had scheme based off of what he boosted from, but 3 attack with an asterisk. He has toughness, and the villain's attacks gain piercing. So if you have toughness tokens, they get discarded when you get attacked. And when he's defeated, remove the present future war from the game. At the end of the phase, join another play area. So in a one-player game, you're basically just going to do your scheme, do your version of Kang, and then you're going to go back into the main game where you're going to be fighting Kang the Conqueror again in stage 3. In a multiplayer game, like a 2, 3, or 4 player game, you will then move your character into another player's play area that's working on their own side scheme and their own version of Kang. So you can then help them with that in their play area before you all move back into the final play area to face Kang in his final form, essentially. So took quite a bit of damage from this one because it does 3 damage right off the bat before it even gets boosted. And then I think I had like a weapon on him at one point that gave him +2 attack, and if your character took any damage from that attack, it also would stun you, and I think it also gave the attack overkill as well, which is pretty brutal. And then after that, you're going to be fighting Kang the Conqueror Stage 3. This one goes up to 20 health per player, 2 scheme, 2 attack. Again, with the same thing that the first Kang has, where whenever he attacks, you either have to place 1 threat on the scheme, on the main scheme, or it gets +2 attack. So I was able to basically kind of whittle him down with some stun cards, like tackles and heroic strikes, as well as Captain America's ability to ready himself, which is huge in this game. So you basically discard a card, you can then basically reset or unexhaust Captain America, and then he can attack or scheme again. That was huge here. So that I was able to get remove threat with that. I was able to deal with various minions. Had one point where basically I had to use. I actually was fighting a T-Rex at one point because one of the cards that I think that I got as an encounter card is a Tyrannosaurus Rex. It comes in with toughness. I think it gains piercing, and then let's see if I actually have it. Yeah, here he is. Tyrannosaurus Rex. So it's a 0 scheme, 3 attack minion. Has 6 health with toughness, and his attack scheme piercing. If it does boost, it boosts out 3 boost icons, which is crazy. So basically, I had to spend an entire turn almost, attacked with Captain America to get the toughness off of him, and then used a heroic strike on the T-Rex just to get rid of it. Because the heroic strike does, if you spend a fist resource or a physical resource, you get basically it does 6 damage and then also stuns. So I was able to basically just get rid of that by using heroic strike. I'd rather, of course, use heroic strike on the villains, but this thing is a pretty strong minion and it has quite a bit of health. So I was just able to get rid of it right away. And then on the main scheme, so it wasn't Kang's Arrival, but it is the main scheme. In that is then, let's see what we got here. Don't know if I have the main scheme over here. That's Future War. That Kang's Arrival, Lost of Time. But basically, it's comes in, has 10, can take 10 threat per player, and I had it at 9 out of 10. So this is definitely probably the biggest challenge I've ever played in a in Marvel Champions. The Rise of Red Skull was pretty tough, especially. I think the toughest challenge I had was maybe Taskmaster. I think I did pretty well against Zola, and then when I was fighting Red Skull, I had that improved thwarting card. So whenever I thwarted a side scheme, I got to draw a card, and basically Red Skull, his whole mechanic is he throws out side schemes every turn, basically. So that wasn't all that challenging. Red Skull probably would have been much harder without the improved thwart card. But this is definitely the biggest challenge I've played so far. I'm looking forward to playing it again and getting a different, fighting a different version of Kang, because there's a whole bunch of different versions of the fight. This is probably the one that does the most physical damage, because there's him, there's Iron Lad, there's the kind of the Egyptian themed version of him as well. But yeah, this one again, 18 health, toughness, and 3 attack before even boosting. So that's pretty strong. But quite a challenging deck, quite fun to play against. I definitely think it's probably going to be a deck that is a little bit more limited with one player, just because you're not seeing the other time periods in play. Because when you're doing a one-player game, you're only going to be dealing with one alternate version of Kang in one alternate time period. 2 or 3 players, you're going to be dealing with 2 or 3 different versions of Kang, each one being dealt with by another player before players can kind of if I defeat my version of Kang and you're still fighting yours, I can then, once I defeat mine, I can move into your game area and help you out. You can't interact with anything that's outside of your game area, so if you're fighting a version of Kang and you have a pretty tough minion that you're fighting, unless I'm in that same game zone, I can't actually interact with you at all. So that can be pretty tough. But I definitely look forward to playing this again, and I definitely look forward to actually playing this one with more than one player. I mostly just play solo, but definitely going to be more fun with more players because you get those other time periods. It's going to feel very thematic with the players kind of getting scattered and then reuniting to fight Kang in his stage 3 form. This is, as far as I know, this is the first deck that it does have. There are expert level cards you can add, but it doesn't do the traditional way you do expert level. Is you don't do stage 1, you do stage 2 and stage 3. In this one, you're fighting every single stage. So you're fighting everybody's going to fight the same stage 1 and the same stage 3, but they're going to be getting a different stage 2 to fight on their own. But that's about it for this video. Really fun deck. Definitely check it out if you're into Marvel Champions. That's going to do it for this video. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again for watching, and take care.